As a criminal defense attorney, one of the questions I'm most frequently asked is, what do I do if I'm being pulled over in a potential DUI situation? Well, the important thing to note when you're being pulled over is everything you do or don't do from that moment on will determine how good or bad your case is moving forward. So let's not take a bad situation and make it worse. First of all, pull over immediately. Now, when I say immediately, I don't mean slam on the brakes and stop in the middle of the road. I mean stop at the first safe, well-lit area that you find, be it a parking lot or off to the side of the road. The next thing to know is that you shouldn't get out of your car unless you're instructed to do so by the officer. If you stop and jump right out, the officer may interpret this as an act of aggression and set the whole encounter off on the wrong foot. So stay in your vehicle and remain there until you're instructed otherwise. Another thing you can do to help make the situation a little more smooth is just be courteous. Courtesy goes a long way. If you start off aggressive or you start off snappy with the officer, it's going to set a bad tone and he's going to be looking for a reason to arrest you. If you're courteous and polite and keep things light, the officer is more likely to cut you a little slack in a close call. Another important thing is having your documents easily accessible. Have your insurance card, your vehicle's registration, and your driver's license readily available when the officer asks. If you're fumbling around looking for them, he may misinterpret this as impairment, whereas if you have them easily accessible and ready to hand over, the entire situation will go smoother. It's also important to know that you can exercise your right to remain silent. Let me say that again. Exercise your right to remain silent. I said it twice because it's probably the most important thing in any encounter with law enforcement. You are never under any obligation to speak to a law enforcement officer. If more people exercise their right to remain silent, the jails would be half as full. It's also important to note, in a situation involving a DUI stop, that the officer is likely to ask you to submit to field sobriety tests. Now, he's not going to ask you, hey, would you like to do this? He's going to have his hand on his gun, leaning over you while you're sitting in your vehicle, and he's going to say something along the lines of, would you mind doing some exercises for me? It's not going to sound much like a question, but it is. Because in Florida, you have the right to refuse exercises. Field sobriety exercises are entirely voluntary. Once again, let's not take a bad situation and make it worse. These exercises are something that you've probably never done before, and you're probably not going to look good doing them when you're in a situation when you're nervous on the side of the road. Refuse to do them. It's also important to know in a situation like this that the police are not your friend. The Supreme Court says they can lie and mislead you in the course of an investigation. Don't take anything they say at face value. Remember, exercise your right to remain silent, be courteous and cooperative, and you'll get through the situation a lot easier.
If we have not answered your specific questions in this video or the rest of the videos and information on our website, please contact us for a free consultation. We believe that you have too much at stake not to protect your legal rights.